All right, go ahead.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
Well, awesome. Well, you tell me, what are we talking about?
What do you guys feel like you need to hear about? Have y'all been on the shift calls and things like that? They've been phenomenal, James. So thank you for doing that.
Thanks. My pleasure. So yeah, I'm happy to help you guys out and join you today. We've been planning this for like a month, and so happy to do it. And yeah, I think what we got to do is we got to talk about what's important to your people. So, you know, whatever's standing out to your market center, whatever's most important to your people, that's the conversation we should have this morning.
James, I really liked yesterday's call, what you were talking about yesterday, and I was like, man, gosh, I wish all of our agents could be on that. So if you could cover some of that.
What did I talk about yesterday? That's a great question.
Well, you were talking about being
conversion.
Weren't you? Yes, conversion. Mm-hmm.
So is that a challenge now for your people? Like they got enough leads or they have a lead gen problem? Which is the biggest challenge, lead gen or lead conversion?
I would say a lead gen.
Lead gen. Why do you say that? Tell me about it.
Well, I think.
And by the way, who is this? What's your name?
Sorry. Good morning. This is.
Oh, there you are. You didn't have to turn on your camera. I mean, you do look lovely. I'm happy to chat with you. What is your name?
Good morning. I say a lead gen issue only because I've heard a lot of individuals facing challenges right now, and just getting out there, communicating with their database and communicating with people in general, the people that they network with on a day-to-day basis. And I think that there's a lot of not intimidation, but a lot of everybody's holding back, wanting to be sensitive to the situation, to the time still, and not knowing how to approach the situation when it comes to out for business.
Can we have a for real conversation about this and not be fluffy and cute? Is that all right? Can I just get after it real quick? Because I'm tired of being fluffy and cute. So let's get after it. First, it's funny because people will say exactly what you said. Everybody's nervous, everybody's hesitant, everybody's slow. And then I log in the MLS and I go, well, not everybody, because there were new listings put in yesterday, and there were pendings yesterday, and there were closings yesterday. Right. And so I think the thing we have to recognize is, look, your number may have been 0. The market's number wasn't 0. So just because your number was 0 doesn't mean it had to be 0. So then the question becomes, well, what caused your number to be 0? Mm-hmm. And that is, are you buying in to a bunch of this that isn't accurate, number one, whether it lives in here or it comes from somebody else, right? How many of you have to fight this thing when you get up in the morning, or somebody who's doing this right here in your ear, just like that. So I think we have to recognize that the number isn't 0 just because ours was, and that somebody is doing something. So then what does that mean? Well, that means we need to go find that person. Mm-hmm. Well, how are we going to find them?
Well, I know one thing for me is that I've been actively calling my database. I've been actively calling my allied resources and those people that I'm closest with, and coming from contribution.
Yes.
In return, I am receiving business.
There you go. So what we can't do is sit at home, watch Dr. Phil, and hope it gets better. What we got, first of all, watching Dr. Phil is not going to make anything better.
No.
So what you have to do is smile and dial, and that's what it is. And the thing, I think the challenge is, we weren't very good at smiling and dialing in the previous market, except the market hid the fact that we weren't very good at it.
Ah, that's good.
Okay, and so now it's getting exposed that we aren't very good at it, and so we got to fix it. So how do we fix it? It's time on task over time. Mm-hmm. So the number, how do I pronounce your name correctly?
It's Taisha.
Taisha. Okay, thank you. When we get so many vowels like that together, I get confused. So Taisha. I think the challenge is that we simply aren't making enough of those contacts on a daily basis. And I just got off the phone with some lady in Michigan, and she's like, I'm on your calls every morning. I said, good for you. We've been doing it 8 weeks. I'm so proud of you. So how are you doing on your contacts? Well, Taisha, have you been on any of my calls?
I have been.
Okay, how many contacts are we supposed to make every day?
I'm not sure. I'm not gonna make up a number. I'm not gonna make up a number. I'm not sure.
I love you. This is why we said we're gonna get after it and not be fluffy and cute, right? Who knows the number? What is the number we're supposed to make every day? What is it?
40.
40. Who said that?
Me.
Who's me? Oh, there you go. Okay.
Katie.
So
A.W.
the
Montgomery.
number, I got you. The number is 40. Okay. And that's not optional. That is a mandatory number. And maybe I need to bring this back up as a reminder tomorrow. It'll help because people have Bold Pivot today. And so then we'll get back on. Are you, Taisha, are you in Bold Pivot?
I am.
Yeah. So you're going to hear the 40 number today anyway. And I gave you a 2-month head start on it. And so this lady gets on, her name is Carrie. She goes, man, I'm making all my contacts and I'm not getting business. I said, first question, well, tell me how many contacts is it? 10. 10 is not 40. Naomi, is 10 the same as 40? Is 10 and 40 the same number? No. Which one's bigger, 10 or 40? 40 is bigger. I got my second grader right here. She's got it. Okay, we're homeschooling today, right over here. So she's got it. So you got to get it. So Taisha, it's 40, and that's how we fill the pipeline. The thing we have to remember though is we're going to work twice as hard for half as much right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that means then you have to alter your life to match that. So then the next thing, see, you double down on your activities and then you cut your expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And until we do both of those things, life's going to suck. Oh, I mean, it's not going to be very good. I have to be careful. I got an 8-year-old in here. Life isn't going to be very good. So the two things I think we've got to make right now, get the number to 40 as quickly as possible. Now, does anybody know how that's supposed to be laid out? Anybody remember? Well, okay, tomorrow on the 8 a.m. call, or it's 7 o'clock your time, isn't it?
Yes.
Tomorrow on the 7 o'clock call, we're going to get preachy tomorrow. So it's going to be Wednesday church day because I got to get this in your brains. It's 20 in the morning on the phone, smile and dial. And so Taisha, you know, by the way, that might be 35, 40, 50 dials, right?
Yes. Correct.
And we've got to do, now, by the way, most people are home right now, really.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are still working from home. And even though that, I don't know if you guys have started to open up the gates a little bit. In Florida, we've started to open up the gates a little bit. So, and yet people are still home, right? So a lot of companies who have people working from home have said, just do that for the rest of the year. So you should reach the people, number one. Number two, so anyway, that's the 20 contacts in the morning.
Yes.
Then 20 contacts in the evening, text, social media, direct messaging, whatever. Now they have to reply for it to count.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the plan every day. And then whenever you aren't doing that, then you're on an appointment.
Gotcha.
So if you're not on an appointment, then what are you doing?
You are either calling or texting, social media, messaging. You're doing one of the two.
I want you to think of your business right now is really 3 things: looking for an appointment, going on an appointment, or dealing with an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you aren't looking for an appointment, going on an appointment, or dealing with an appointment, then it probably doesn't matter.
Right.
And remember, oh, okay, sorry, I heard a noise out there. It freaked me out. Remember that you never deal with business till you found business first.
Right.
Okay, so we're always going to look for business before we deal with business. And that's the deal. So I think I hope that answered your question.
Oh,
that
yeah,
only
no,
took
that
10
was
minutes. Yeah. I hope that helped you. So go get to your 40. That's the most important thing. Most important thing. What time is it there? 9:10?
9:10.
All right. So you still have plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
Great question. You're smart. I like you. You're my new favorite. It's true story. Were you on the shift thing I did for the region?
No, I was not.
Well, that's okay. I still like you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, who's next? What else is on your mind? What's you know, just what are you feeling? What are you experiencing? How can I help you? All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to play a game. All right, and the game is called Zoom Bingo. And if you had awkward silence, go ahead and circle that. It's right there. Awkward silence. All right. My earlier one, I had barking dog. So.
Is there a weird noise out the window? You should add that.
I know. Can you hear that weird noise out my window?
No.
Is it here? Let's see. Oh, you're on mute. We haven't said that yet. Okay. Yeah, there you go. All right. What else is on your mind? Take it away.
All right, guys. We have James Shaw.
This is the same response I get at home.
Who's been on the calls? Let's hear what you guys have heard on the calls. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Okay, well, I have sort of a question. So do you think that, because I've been on your calls and you have a lot of veteran agents on your calls who have been through many shifts. Mm-hmm. And then you have the newer agents who mm-hmm. don't really, I guess, feel as much of the impact. And so do you think that the new agents should go in with that same,
yes,
intensity?
Yes.
Because
yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. So here's the, are you asking this because you're new?
Yes, sometimes there can be like a divide because you have great people with great ideas and they've been through so much and they're able to go in and just tackle it. And then you have some of the newer agents.
Well, they're pretending. So so a lot of them, when they talk in the morning, they're telling you the good. They're not telling you the other stuff. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So I think that's really important. That if let's say I got Jenny Wallach spoke today, right? And Jenny's one of my favorite agents in all of Keller Williams. I've known Jenny for a long time. She comes out to Orlando. If she goes to Disney, we meet her there with her family. Like, I've known Jenny forever. And I know that if I called Jenny today and go, how'd you do in your contacts yesterday? That the number probably isn't 40. Okay. Now, if she was on, she'd probably go, no, it was. And she hits it more often than she doesn't, except, she's telling you the truth about what's working and what's not working. Deldy there's days Deldy doesn't hit 40. I mean, if you want to look at our pivot ahead daily contributors, look, there's a lot of people. I'm not saying anything negative about them. There's a lot of people, though, that tell you what works to inspire you. So Bold Law says, don't compare your insides to other people's outsides. And so here's what you do is you get after it. Because for every one of those people that tells you we're doing this, and Jenny's doing her stuff, Deldy's doing her stuff, right? They're all doing it. There's a whole bunch of them that aren't. And here's what happens, okay? What happens in a shift is, first of all, let me give you some of my thoughts about things. When you go get your real estate license, like I believe this is how life works. Not everybody has the same starting line, except everybody's running the same race. Okay, in life, we're all running the same race. And let's say life is a marathon, and some people start at the start line. Some people start 5 miles ahead of the start line, right? Some people start at the halfway point of the race. And then some people, they have to run 100 miles before they even get to the start line. I just believe that in general, that's how life works. So we do not all start at the same place based on our circumstances, our backgrounds, our family situation, the amount of money we've got already saved to start. Are you with me on that? Yes. We do not all start at the same spot, and yet we're running the same race. Well, here's what happens, though, in a shift. Take the distance that everybody has, and it does get tighter. Okay? It does get tighter. So we get closer together, which means, so you describe yourself as a newer agent. So I don't know where your start line is based on your circumstances, and yet let's say that you are at the start line. Well, maybe now you're a mile in, and that person who was starting 5 miles in front of you is now only 3 miles ahead of you. Do you get it? So now you're closer together. So there's a win for you because you can run faster than that person and catch them just because you got closer together. I hope this makes sense because it makes perfect sense to me. So what happens is when a shift happens, we all get closer together. And if you do what you're supposed to do every day, the people in front of you might not be doing those things and you can pass them. You have a greater likelihood of succeeding in a market like this than you did a year ago.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Because we all are closer together and your skill set becomes completely exposed here. And Tiffany, have you ever taken Bold before?
No.
Okay. All right. No worries. So you aren't going to see this in the new Bold, in the classic Bold. So we literally taught like the same Bold for 10 years. Then we rewrote it a year ago, and now we've had to rewrite it completely again. And it used to be in the final day of Bold, the 7th session of Bold, we would show, and some of you might remember this, we showed a building that had been built that was like this 13-story condo building. And it fell over after it was completely built because the foundation it was built on was not solid. And it was not, so it had the appearance of looking like this really strong, powerful, great building. except when, it got a little bit of rain, it all completely collapsed and fell over. You're going to see that happen to agents' businesses right now. They think they have something solid. They have the appearance of something strong, and yet their foundation is weak. And when the foundation is weak, the whole thing will crumble. So if you do the foundational things correctly, which is how many contacts, Tiffany?
40 contacts.
Okay, right. And you always look for business before you deal with business. And you recognize that if you don't have an appointment, then your job is to look for one. And do you get it? And if that's all you do, then I'm telling you, your foundation will be so strong that you will stand through this while others crumble. So be careful. Deldy and Jenny have very strong foundations.
Yeah.
Their business is not going to crumble. Be careful of the people who don't have strong foundations and they have the appearance of them. I hope that made sense, because I thought it was quite genius. And it made perfect sense to me. Did that help you?
That was good. Thank you.
All right. What's the lesson for you then?
Foundation. Build
What about
that
it?
strong foundation.
What about it?
To make sure the calls, and I think one of the biggest things is everybody has so many great ideas that at the end of the day, there's so much to take in.
Don't listen to them. I have been clear. Okay. I have been clear for now. We are 7.5 weeks in on this puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And since day one, I have been crystal clear about this. And I don't mean to be mean. Put me up against Gary and Jay and Dave when it comes to this book. I'm telling you, let's do a quiz. Okay, I know this book backwards, forwards, and sideways because I was a team leader when it came out, and I saw my agents getting out of the business, and I dove into this book and bowled, and that was the answer. And I have been crystal clear since day one. It is 40. That's the number. And I've given you the outline for the conversation. It's care, compassion, and common sense. Hold on one second. We got homeschool going on. What's this, sweetie? What are you giving me, girl? What is this? Oh, you're going to go back to the book now? Yes, you may go read. Absolutely, sweetheart. I'm proud of you. So I've been clear. It's 40. And the problem is, see, Tiffany, you'll do it when the experienced agent, I don't know who's the most experienced agent on here, they're probably not going to do it. And you'll pass them. You'll be the one who wins. How long have you had your license, Tiffany?
A year, a little over.
You are not new.
Well, I guess experience-wise.
You have a year experience.
Gotcha.
Get after it, okay?
Gotcha. Thank you.
I'm proud of you. I like you. You're my new Biffle. Sorry. Sorry to my previous Biffle. I'm sorry. You've been replaced. Yeah.
That's all right. I like Tiffany too, so that's fine.
She's nice. I like her. So, Tiffany, I hope that helped you. Go out and get it because the start lines have gotten closer. And so it's time for you to pass somebody. That's a true story.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Appreciate you. Okay, what else can I do with you guys?
James, I think it's just important to remember the basics. It comes down to doing what we've got to do every day. Quit looking around to see what everybody else is doing, and do the things that we know that we do day in and day out. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that Bold, 4 years ago when I took it for the first time, mm-hmm. It transformed my life because it's just the fundamentals to build a huge business and build that firm foundation that you can build whatever size business you want off of it.
So here's the thing on that. I think if you've been on my calls, I haven't said anything that's like blown anybody's mind. And that's what people always say about me, which I take as a compliment. I don't come down and drop some like amazing, mind-blowing idea. I reinforce basics. That's what I see my job is as a coach, is to get you focused on the basics. And I think about like, if you think about probably the most successful coach in history, and you could name 3 or 4 people, I would say it's John Wooden. And John Wooden was a basketball coach, coached UCLA. And UCLA won 11 national championships. And I forget how many they won in a row, 6 or 7 in a row when he was the coach. And, he taught fundamentals. That was what he taught. And in the very first practice, he would teach the players how to put on their socks like that. And it's 12 steps, by the way. You can go on YouTube and watch a video of John Wooden teaching guys how to put their socks on. And I just think about like, go look up, if you like basketball, look up some of the names of the guys who played for John Wooden. If you played for John Wooden, like you were one of the 12 best college basketball players to exist on earth. And yet he started the very first practice of the year by teaching you how to put on your socks. And there's 12 steps because it's a fundamental. And he would say, look, if your socks aren't on right, then you're going to get a blister. And if you get a blister, then you can't practice. And if you can't practice, then you can't play. And if you can't play well, then we won't win. And that's what you came to UCLA to win. So I need the most important fundamental is to teach you how to put on your socks. I look at our 40 contacts a day are putting on socks. Mm-hmm. You know, there's nothing, be careful of the people that go, check out this mind-blowing idea that's going to completely blow up your business. I don't think so. So Adam, I'm proud of you. Are you in Bold Pivot today?
I am.
It's going to be nuts, man. Last time I saw 36,000 people enrolled.
Oh my goodness.
Last year, for the whole year, 29,000 people took it. Like, that's the thing. 29,000 people took Bold in 2019. 36,000 plus, I don't know, maybe there's an updated number, are going to be taking it starting today. It's just amazing.
James, people are still able to register. I had somebody this morning. For anybody on the call that's not, what would you say, like, right now?
Well, if this is not your plan, then what's your plan? Okay, if Bold Pivot isn't your plan, then what is your plan? Right now, by the way, we're at 36,876. If Bold Pivot isn't your plan, what is your plan? And come sell me on what that's going to be. That's it. What's the plan? Because the market's different. Gary, I talked about it today. You built your jobs and your goals and your plans around an environment that doesn't exist anymore. When 2020 came, how many of you remember 2020 was going to be your year? Oh, this is the longest decade ever. Gary says, you wrote that plan, you set your goals in an environment that no longer exists. Right. So if you keep behaving that way, this would be no different than, I don't know, if you decided you were going to go deep sea diving without the scuba equipment. That's what we're in. So that's my answer. The good news is we are not going to shut off registration. So people will be able to enroll all the way through the end of the month because we're recording the sessions. So someone can go enroll all the way through the end of the month, and they should. I think the price point, when you go from $7.99 to $99, are we not proving that every single person should take this?
Yeah.
Oh, because there's still, obviously there's a cost investment and people doing work. So people got to get paid. And I think we've cut it to the lowest possible number we could so that literally every person can get in. And then what I would recommend you do in your market center is you set up accountability groups and teams and accountability partners within the market center and do some stuff on a regular basis to track numbers and check in with people.
Will do. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, James. And so whoever's on this call, if you're not enrolled, it is free after you do your first deal through Bold. So,
oh, you guys are paying back the $99.
Yes.
We're going to give $100 back. So
you should have 100% participation. That should be the standard.
Yeah.
So
my friend Nina Parker, she's a team leader in Apex, the OP in Apex, North Carolina. She has every single agent enrolled. All of them are taking it. She's put them on teams. Like, she's gone all out on that. So Adam, yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope this was helpful for your people. I'm going to put my Instagram in here because I got to do one more right here after you. So, and then it's time to get ready for Bold Pivot. So I'm putting my Instagram stuff in there. If you'd follow me, connect with me there, that would be totally awesome. And if I can help y'all down the road, let me know. Thanks for the opportunity to connect with your people today. I hope it was helpful.
Thank you so much, James. We really appreciate it.
You got it. Be safe. Talk to you later.
Thanks, James.
Okay, guys, let me hear what you heard. What did you hear James saying?
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if we're making 40 calls a day and we're calling with the concern, care, compassion, and then obviously we're going to be in 7.5 weeks into this, we're going to be coming back around to other people. Mm-hmm. What is the follow-up conversation? Are you just still having that same conversation, or what does that look like?
Well, and that's pretty much what we've been seeing in that Facebook group on the calls is people, for now, some people were way further into it than we were, right? And so that's what they're seeing, because things are changing daily for people. Either they're losing their job, they're gaining their job, schools are I mean, like literally there's so much happening from day to day that by the time you cycle back around, it's a new conversation and you're able to meet a new need.
Yeah, with that too, Katie, that's part of the scripts that will be in Bold Pivot. I watched something last night, and so that will be some of the scripts there. But, you know, following up with, I mean, anything really. I mean, hey, just remember, Katie, you know, I appreciate you taking my call the other day. I'm glad that you and your family are doing well. Hey, keep me in mind if you need anything related to any type of legal issues, you know, home repair, yard service, whatever you need, Katie. I've got a huge list of allied resources that I have at my disposal, and I'd love to refer you to some great contractors if you guys need anything. I know a lot of people, I don't know if you've been at Lowe's or Home Depot lately, but it is covered up. So if y'all run into something, your husband cuts a water line or whatever, trying to do some, whatever the repair is, just remember that if y'all need something, I've got a list of great contractors.
Okay.
Just being that resource.
Did that answer your question, Katie?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Who else? Thank you. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Who on the call is not registered for Bold Pivot?
I was doing it before we got on the call. I will do it as soon as we get off of this call.
I think
All right. Anybody else?
mostly everyone on the call is actually already registered. I think there's one or two, but mostly everybody.
Well, one thing he said, and I'm glad he said it, is sticking to the basics. And his calls, that's what he start off with, the basics. And even as I've been telling the PCA agents that if don't look at who's been in real estate so long, because some people can do something so long till they think they've perfected it. And like he said, they'll get relaxed, and you are so energetic that you say, I got to get this done. This is my first one. And you give it all you got. So when you giving it all you got, you just keep that mindset of giving it all you got and don't look back at who's coming behind you, because looking back can slow you down.
Well, too, Vicki, with that, I mean, do I know people that you don't know?
Yes.
Do you know people I don't know?
Yes.
So what's the probability we're working the same pile of business?
Exactly.
We're not.
Exactly.
And everybody on here has a different relationship with different people. And so your database, that is your biggest asset that you've got in this business. And behind that, what you just said and what James has been saying, who's been watching the Chicago Bulls special on Sunday night? It was like two series. It was for 2 weeks. It was two movies back to back about Michael Jordan and the Bulls back in the 80s and 90s. Y'all seen that?
Yeah.
All right. You know, the coach initially, Michael Jordan didn't make like the high school team or whatever. They said he wasn't any good. But the reality is it's the Joker just decided, I'm going to practice more than any of my competition, right? And he never stopped practicing. And everybody that was ever around him, from, you know, when he was on the Tar Heels, the Bulls, he didn't stop practicing. And so guess what? It's just like Gary said, the competition ain't going to catch us because we ain't going to stop, and we're 5 years ahead of them with the technology. So you determine your success by daily doing the task that it takes to be successful. And it's not rocket science. And look, everybody gets bored with doing the task over and over and over and over. And so what happens is they get bored with the same thing over and over, and then they go and try and get creative and spend money. And guess what happens? They lose sight of the tasks that get the money.
Right.
You got to be okay with being bored doing the same task over and over.
You know, yesterday I was talking to another agent, and we had that same very conversation, Adam. And one of the things that we were talking about is I was basically saying that routine and boredom is what's going to create freedom for you.
Mm-hmm.
While right now, we don't like routine, we don't like the mundane because it feels like you're confined to have to do something day in and day out and day in and day out. But that day in, day out routine, that mundane routine is what's going to allow you the freedom to do the things that you truly enjoy doing, you know. And like you said, and just like James said, when you go back and look at any individual that's successful, I don't care who it is, look at anybody that truly is successful, even take it outside of real estate, just outside of real estate, truly successful. I bet you their day in and day out life is so mundane, it's so boring, because they know they have to create consistency, a schedule, and a routine in order to be successful and do the same things every day, day in and day out.
Yeah, and it's just like James said a couple of weeks ago, and it's, you know, it's not James saying something, right? James is just reiterating what we know, right? He's poured in the time to be a professional and do what we're talking about, the same thing over and over and over. We have to be, if you can master your calendar, you can have anything you want. And look, if I told you that I could sit down at a computer and grind out 2 or 3 hours on the phones and set appointments and build a massive business because I'm willing to do the lead gen that nobody else is willing to do, would you do it? If I said all you got to do is take these numbers and call them every day, sit down for 2 or 3 hours, and Shakira, Taisha, Katie, other Katie, y'all can have y'all the ones on my screen right now, y'all can have anything your kids want, you can have it. Who's going to do it?
Very few.
I liked what James said about if bold isn't your plan, what is your plan? And last night I was watching TV for a minute, and yeah, longer than I should have. But anyway, I loved it because this 19-year-old comes out and she goes, I don't have a plan B.
Plan B to make plan A work.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing, failure is not an option.
Mm-mm.
This is the plan. The plan is to do this.
I think that's where we limit ourselves when we have all these like backup contingencies and we're like, oh, well, if this doesn't work, then I'll do. No, you have to have that like narrow focused intensity and drive. And like we talked about earlier, I can't motivate you guys and y'all can't motivate me. Like it's internal. You got to decide. We each have to individually decide what we want and we're motivated. And then we put our action plan together. And like, he's not talking about spending thousands of dollars. If anything, he's talking about cutting money, actually, and just literally going from the people you know and calling them, how are you? And what he was saying, Tiffany, to you is very few of the successful veteran agents are actually doing that. So that gives you actually a gain. Every person that's doing that is going to gain on the people that are not. And that's how you got to think about it.
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah, the whole thing on the backup plans, like you mentioned, Katie, you know, I was a therapist before I got into real estate, and people did not like giving up their assisted device, their crutch, their cane, whatever. They had surgery and they leaned on that thing because it hurt. They tried to deviate and get away from the pain, right? And at some point you got to put the crutch down, because if you won't, you'll always lean on it and it's going to cause other problems.
That's exactly right. You got to think about it like that. And for all of you guys in Ignite right now, every day we're doing the simple activities. And I mean, many people, I'm going to use Taisha, for example, Taisha and Vicky would look at them and go, well, why would they join an Ignite class? And every session you guys have joined, have you not taken a little something and had to, you know, put perspective what you're doing? Like it's just the basics.
Absolutely. I had somebody ask me yesterday, was I taking bold again? Was I going to take bold? And I said, yes. And they said, how many times have you taken? I said, I've taken bold. This will be my 5th time. Mm-hmm. And this is the first time I've not paid $800 for it. But at the same token, it shows you that you never arrive. And if you think you do, like you said, like we've all said, you fooled yourself. And it's, to me, they said, well, why would you take it over and over again? It's the same information. And I said the same thing. It's about building a foundation. And I said, I got to continually work on my foundation. And that's what this class does for me. And that's why I'll take it over and over again every time it's offered.
Well, hey, and that goes back to, amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. Why does Michael Jordan or LeBron or whoever shoot free throws? Why do they practice free throws? They're professionals, but they still practice every day. So the thing about Bold is, this is my 5th time to take it, just like Taisha. And look, the reality is it meets us where we are each time, because we're at different places, right? We continue to grow and we continue to sharpen our skills. And hey, look, Ignite class, it's not for beginners. It's for everybody. And the reality is we've got people that need to retake it because we lose sight of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Now, this is my 3rd time taking Ignite, and they say it's a step down from Bold. If it's a step down, every time that I've taken Ignite, I've gained even the more knowledge. So for me to take Bold, I'm even more excited because it's just like the word to me. When I hear it, I've heard different ministers preach the same thing over and over and over again, but every time God will allow me to get something different. So that's how I look at it. And the difference is to be able to help me to grow.
Yeah, we're at a different place too, and specifically right now, the world's at a different place. Like, it's completely upside down, some may say. And now that we're actually, things are kind of opening up, and maybe when they put this out, clearly they had no clue what May would bring as far as states opening and keeping closed, real estate being essential and everything. Yet this is the month. Gary Keller says this is going to be the month that changes everything. And so let's gear in right now, because a lot of the top agents in our area, in our market center, are like, no, I'm not going to take new business. So every new piece of business you're taking is again pushing you forward. And the more you're digging in, being learning based, mastering your skills, mastering your calendar, I mean, you're sharpening your skill set, right, guys? Jimmy Ann, are you on the call? We wanted to talk about the clear cooperation that came across MAR yesterday. Make sure everybody understands what that is.
Yes, I'm on the call, and I've been looking for my camera, and maybe I'm glad I didn't find it. It's on here somewhere. But I would like to encourage everyone to please always check MLS at least one time a day. Some of you are on there constantly, but just check it once a day, even on the weekends, to see what new that's coming out. And what Katie is referencing is we have in times past used a sign on a for sale sign that says coming soon. Okay, that says this is going to be happening soon, so get ready. There is a new guideline that is coming out from MLS that says clear cooperation and coming soon properties have new guidelines. Here they are, and you can go on there and you can read it if you want to, but I'm just going to read it for us, and then we'll talk about it in a minute. Within 24 hours of marketing a property to the public, the listing broker, that means us, must submit the listing to MLS for cooperation with other MLS participants. Public marketing includes, but is not limited to, flyers displayed in windows, yard signs, digital marketing on public-facing websites, brokerage websites displays, including IDX and Val, digital communication marketing, email blasts, multi-brokerage listing sharing networks, and applications available to the general. This was a new guideline that MLS put in place, and it's dated 11/19. Under the MLS Clear Cooperation Coming Soon advertising, it is no longer allowed. It is not allowed. If you are advertising a property and it is not in MLS within the 24 hours, which is the time frame you have from the time you publicly market something, you have to have it into MLS. If you don't do that, you are in violation of the MLS Clear Cooperation and you will be fined. The Multiple Listing Service of the Montgomery Area Association of Realtors adopted the policy and approved an implementation, big word, date on March the 1st, 2020. This fine will be $100 for the first offense and then increases by $25 each additional violation. You will be reported to MAR or MLS. The Professional Standards Committee is the committee that hears these violations, and they meet once a month. And for things like this, there's just absolutely no wiggle room. So if it is determined that you actually did this, then just expect that $100 fine. So if those of us, and I said us, who have coming soon signs, please throw them away or use it for a birthday party or something like that. Questions?
Or use it within the 24-hour time frame, right?
Boy, but that's going to be really hard because if you've got the sign in the yard, you're going to have it in MLS within 24 hours or you're going to be sorry.
Mm-hmm. Does everybody understand about that?
Any questions?
And our MLS is the same way. You know, Birmingham is different. They have a different tab that has a coming soon tab, which is nice. But, you know, this is the same policy we have in Tuscaloosa as well. And I think it keeps a fair playing field because it's just you put a coming soon on there and there's one number. It's really not a fair.
Well, it has been a tool. It has been a tool in the past for an agent who is the listing agent to have a head start on getting his listing sold. And that is not MLS Clear Cooperation. So this is I think, in an attempt to make sure that everyone, and that you're doing a better job for your seller, that you're offering their property to everyone in the multiple listing service so that they can have a buyer faster. It's just better for our sellers.
Awesome. All right. I just want to make sure that everybody understood that. Sometimes when those memos come across Matrix, it can be a little confusing. So I just want to make sure anytime those come across, we all have a conversation about it and we're all on the same page. So there's no confusion there. Now, Adam, yesterday we were talking a little bit, we were looking at the market and looking at trends. I would like for us to take just a few minutes, the last few minutes and talk about what we were seeing. And let's just have a conversation all together as a group about that so that you guys can be informed. I pulled new market stats for our little snapshot this morning to share on our Facebook page and to share with you guys. But you just want to make sure that when you're having those conversations and people say, how's real estate? That common sense part, you don't say, good, right? You're informed and you're the expert in that conversation.
Yeah, and it's always nice to have hard numbers as data. Anytime you have that, obviously you become the professional, and there's no arguing with it, right? It's the actual numbers. I don't have the numbers right here in front of me, Katie, but
here I think I can pull up what we did yesterday if I can figure.
Yeah, I remember
how to take.
Roughly. What we're seeing is the list price, the sales price are down about 2 to 5%. And looking at the stats for the first quarter, we were right there with where we were last year. Now, just in my observation with Montgomery versus Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, it seemed like down here there was a slower response with the public to Corona, and that's just, I don't have anything to base that off of other than it seemed like there was well, I take that back. Tuscaloosa, the mayor actually shut down, the city, and then it was about a week and a half later that Montgomery did. But when and look, guys, I want you guys to be able to pull this data. So you don't need us. I want to create an independence for you guys. So at any point in time, you guys can pull this, and you might already know how to do it. If you don't, you can go under market. Katie, you have it pulled up there?
I have the document. Let me, I could share my screen to pull it up on the browser. Give me 1 second, guys. For some reason, it wasn't allowing me to get off the Zoom screen, so it took me a minute. Okay, here we go. Yep, can you guys see you can see matrix, right?
So we're going to go to market reports.
It's at the top.
And then we're going to go sales and inventory. And then we want to see just put last year, 2 years.
And you select MAR, and that will show our data.
Yeah, and that's going to just pull residential. So if you wanted to do land or commercial, whatever, you can go there and change those tabs. So this is going to generate a report that shows year-over-year trends by month of what was actually sold. So if we go back and look at January 2019, there were 280 houses that were sold, or sides that were sold. If you'll scroll down, let's look. And so actually January, we had a better month, right? 327. So you just take the top number, divide it by the bottom number, it's going to give you percentage. But if you guys look at May, if you'll go down through here, we're pretty much, tit for tat all the way down. March, you see 477.
I have your notes right here, Adam. So
Okay.
January, we were up 15. I didn't realize you left this in here. So
Yeah.
Up 15%. February, we were down 2%. Does everybody understand how he's getting that number? It took me a second, but okay. And now we're looking at March, right?
Right.
So March 452 and 477. We were up 1%.
Yeah. So no, we're actually down 1% for this year.
You wrote up, so.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. We were up. I'm sorry. I was going down to May. So if we look at May, all right, we are 5 days in. So you could take 5, and look, this isn't concrete here, but if you take 5 days and divide it into 30, it's going to give you 6. So we'd multiply 6 times 47. That's 282. Y'all go up there and look at May of 2019, 572. Now we know that most of the deals are going to close toward the end of the month typically, but being in all fairness, we had 6 deals pushed to the first of this month from last month. So just saying, hey, look, if these numbers hold steady, we're at a 49% decrease in the market for May. That's where the trend is right now. So we're starting to see the drop. And when did COVID-19 start? 7 weeks ago, right? And we know that our business is 30 to 60 days ago is our business that is closing now. So where does that put us? That all adds up, right? We're seeing the effects now. And for the people that said, hey, listen, I'm scared. And look, there's people that are dying from this stuff. I get it, right? But there's a safe way to continue conducting business. And are you going to catch COVID-19 at home lead genning?
Nope.
You're not. You're
Not
not
this
going
month.
out. I've not seen anybody out at the malls or Home Depot saying, "Hey, let me list or sell your house," and shaking everybody's hand, politicking on it. We don't have to do that. We never had to do that. And so to say that I'm not going after new business right now, these are the results of not doing that, right? So do we expect that to happen in June?
If we continue on the way that we're happening, it's going to get worse.
Right. And so that's where the new agents that are in bold, that are calling and contacting these people are still buying and selling houses. The question is, are they buying and selling houses with you? So I wanted to show that to you about how to pull the data. So every day you can have that new updated information to have that conversation. Katie, you were asking about that. What's that conversation look like? Hey, you know what? Since we've talked to you last week, Katie, I told you the market was down like 49%, that for the month, it's actually up 25% in my business. And I just want to let you know, there's people like you in my database that have helped refer me business. And I want to let you know I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate after the compassion, the care, and then we go to the common sense, if it makes sense to have a conversation around business?
I think something else that needs to be kind of taken into consideration is the fact that some of the numbers may be lagging because of the military and the stay in place, because I've got people that were normally would have transferred, but because of the stay in place, and now they're starting to loosen those. And so that may have an effect too, because they're starting to transfer people now.
It does, Katie. And hey, look, what's the opportunity line there? If you're stacking your pipeline up, we could blow it out in June, July, and August.
Yeah, and that's a great conversation to be able to have with the seller about, hey, this is one thing that may have skewed our numbers. Don't let this necessarily scare you, but at the same time, this could, the military staying in place could have an effect on the number of listings.
Another conversation is, Katie, can you go back to that screen?
Potentially.
Okay. So another conversation behind that is, if you need, I can't remember if I was talking to Vicky or who it was the other day, but the lack of motivation for somebody to sell your house. Well, hey, Vicky, I know you wanted to sell your house and you have whatever going on, right? We're actually seeing that the trends, if you look annually, scroll down just a little bit. The average sales price annually right now is down almost $3,000 per house. So we're seeing a trend down. So if you need to sell, Vicky, I don't know where this is going, but the rates are good. And we're seeing that the average sales price are actually going down. So we need to get your houses listed now and get it on the market before the prices go any further down. Does that sound good?
Yes, absolutely. And then the other thing I think is that information is powerful when you're writing offers on properties, because sometimes there are other agents that are not doing this and are not aware of this. And if you say to them, hey, out of the 14 houses that are listed within a $25,000 price range of your listing, my buyers chose your house. So let's see if we can make this work, because they may not know that.
Well, look at your average list price, 184. Last year it was 186. Your average sale price is 180 last year. This year it's 177. The median prices are down almost $4,000. So that's a conversation to motivate and use that to fuel the close.
Well,
right?
and too, Adam, the sold to list percentage. So when you're having that conversation and we talk about this at night all the time, that person that comes in offering $50,000 less and they think they're going to get a bargain, you're able to have that conversation that this is actually versus list versus what's sold for. This is a percentage in our market.
Well, and here's another thing: when you're listing houses, are you putting your house on the market or in the market, right? Because if you're pricing it ahead of the market, this is what we're looking at. Do we need to overprice a house right now?
No, never.
You need to pull your comps and you need to go, $1,500 below the comps to make your house more attractive, so we don't get caught up in this downward movement in prices. You see what I'm saying? We got to
Yes,
price
I'm not
ahead
chasing
of
the
the market.
market.
Right.
You're not chasing the market. That's exactly right.
Does that make sense?
Does everybody
Absolutely.
understand?
That's why these numbers are so critical to have, especially when you go into a listing, consult. Hey guys, let me show you what the market's actually doing in your neighborhood and in the overall market.
Well, and two, yesterday in Ignite, we were talking about coming to the negotiation point. So you want to do your CMA, you want to know your numbers when you list it. And then when those offers come in, you have to do this again, right? Not necessarily going to be within the same week. So you always want to be knowing what's happening. And this makes you that market expert. And like Katie said, that's a local, you can't look at the market in the US to know that the military are coming here in our area at this certain time in this certain situation. So you're the local market expert in that situation. And so you make it your business to know that. You can have those conversations with people.
That's why Zillow doesn't work. It's
Right.
like a national forecast.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. I want to know what's happening here right now.
It's always sunny and 70 in California. That's not always here. Think about it like that. Are you finished with this one? I was going to show them kind of what the market's doing today before we wrap up.
Yeah. Is there any takeaways from that? Anybody? Is that helpful?
No, yes, maybe.
Yes, very much so,
Yeah,
because
it's
when
really
you
helpful.
can show people proof of what it is that you're saying, it's professional.
Well,
They know you know what's going on in the market. You're not just saying, yeah. You're not just selling houses. You are studying the data, so you know that you know what you're talking about.
well, Vicky, too, guess who's never the bad guy when you've got the numbers?
Mm-hmm.
You're not the bad guy. Hey,
Right.
You've hired me as a professional consult. Can come in here to consult with you on the numbers. Here are the numbers. I'm not making it up. I'm just telling you what the market's doing.
So this is just in May, guys. There's been 103 new listings, 171 new contracts, and 126 closings. What does
in 5 days?
In 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably now that we can have open houses. What do y'all think? Just teasing.
No.
What do you guys?
Katie,
Yeah, go ahead.
can you show us exactly where to get that at?
Yes, I will do. We're about to wrap up here. I'll do a little video walkthrough of how I find these numbers. It's really just on the search, just like you'll do with the CMA. You just look in the search in active and then closed and pending. Pending and contingent, and then closed for however long you put the time frame in there. I wanted to see what specifically we were doing in May. Typically what I've done is kind of a 2 week or a month. And those numbers, you want to look at what story you're telling. In this case, I did not have to go to a month. It already, you can see it's climbing pretty quickly.
Okay.
And you can get, hey guys, you can get creative with this and use the market data to bring across the conversation that you want.
Right.
Right. We don't have to give all the data. If I know that, hey, this is going to be my rebuttal, then I'm going in with the data that's going to make my point clear. Right.
And you know your audience, Adam. So you know if you're based on the conversations we're having with our database, with our either buyer consults or seller consults along that conversation, along that timeline, what they've already told you.
Right.
So if they're hesitant,
the question is what will motivate my client to do what it is they need to do for me to get them the max benefit and them list with me. So from that, then I go in and I look for the data that's going to reinforce what I'm telling them.
Exactly. Before we finish up too, Adam, yesterday we were talking about being listing focused. I want us to have that conversation. Why, again, that's so important. We were even looking at our local office year over year numbers. And based on conversations we've been having since January about the benefits of being listing focused, about following the models set in the MREA, and yet we can see clearly a dip in our business because that action has not been taken yet, because we've been doing the same thing.
Yeah, the whole thing about being listing focus is, you know, look at Gary's model. What's the 3 L's?
Listings, leads, leverage.
Woo, for the newest agent. Yes.
Girl,
Yeah.
I told you I bleed red. I paid attention.
We got
I got 3 bold diplomas.
Yes, you do.
the reason why Gary doesn't have buyers in the triangle is because if you get the listing, you get 2 buyers. If it's marketed correctly, for every listing you take, we should have 2 buyers come along. And guess what? It might not be. We do it all the time. Hey, I called about your listing. Yeah, well, hey, look here. It's this, this, and this. Well, that's not really what I'm looking for. Well, I'll tell you what. You tell me what you're looking for. I'll go get it. So that's how we build a business, is from the listings. And you go out and you create a farm, right? That hey, this is my area and I'm going to focus on it. People keep seeing Katie Douglas on the sign, or Vicky Wadsworth, or Shaquille. That is your best advertisement that you can possibly have, because people are doing business with you, right? So the listings are not only that. If I want to go, I'm going to the beach in 2 weeks. I can list houses from the beach. Guess what I can do? Showing time communicates with my buyer or my sellers. I've got it all set up now where I can live the life that I want to live and control the business that I want through my listings. I'm not a buyer focused person. My whole job is to list property. That's all I do. Katie, how many buyers have you heard me talking to in here?
That would be 0. And I've been on 90% of the negotiation calls that he's had recently. So
it's all listing focused. That's the only thing I want is listings. Now I have buyer agents that handle the buyers. Now I'm not saying buyers are bad. I'm just saying that buyers, Katie Douglas, let me ask you a question. Could you handle 30 listings if I gave them to you?
Absolutely.
All right. Could you, in the same amount of time, handle 30 buyers? They're active buyers. They want to go right now.
Absolutely not.
Right. So let me ask you this. What does our focus need to be on to build a big business?
Listings.
All day long.
And guys, you know what's going to get you more business? Is it going to be your name and face on a billboard and a newspaper ad, or a sign in the yard?
Sign in the yard all day.
In the shift call, we talk about in 90 days, you're either going to get a bill or a check. So if you're putting money out, that's your bill. But if you're focused on putting signs in yards for sale signs, you're going to be getting a paycheck. You're not going to get a bill. So.
Well, and there's opportunities there too with the sellers, because when you share their website with them and you say, hey, look, here's my app. And when you're talking to somebody at work, just share it with them. I mean, it's almost too easy.
Well, and if y'all, I mean, the goal here is to have a big business. That's my goal, right? Have a big business, live a life that I want to live, provide a whatever it is I want for my family, take care of the people at my church, you know, help you guys grow a business. All that comes from having active listings. Because, hey, look, as we grow, and if you like working with buyers, work with buyers. But the reality is the listing's going to give you buyers. If somebody's going to list a house, Katie, what would they have to be looking for?
If somebody was looking to buy a house for me?
Well, no, I'm saying if I've got a listing what's the probability that those people are going to have to buy another house?
Very great.
Okay. And guess what? If they're either moving somewhere locally or they're moving somewhere else. And guess what? There's a referral check. So
Yep.
a listing is going to bring you 2 pieces of business 9 times out of 10. So
Exactly.
that's my take on listings.
Yes. So we just really want to make sure that we are bringing you guys information and empowering you to have a big business, to be able to have the conversations, to be able to know what the focusing activity is, and to know what your one thing is. And so you that are driven, that are motivated, that are raising your hand saying you're ready to go, y'all are showing up. And how y'all show up in here is how you're going to show up out there. And myself, Adam, our leadership team, we've got our eyes on you guys, and y'all are about to blow the market up. And we're extremely proud of you all. So it's an honor to be in business with you. And I sincerely mean that. Thank you guys for showing up today. Red Day is on the 14th. This year, we're giving back to first responders. I'm going to share that out again today. Please share it on your Facebook page. Please encourage your sphere to share it. We're only able to give what we receive. And so every little bit's going to count. You can give through GoFundMe or the Cash App. We found out GoFundMe takes a percentage of the donations. And so we've got 2 options there. Our goal was $1,000, thinking that we could find 100 people to give $10. I mean, we have 75 agents. So if everybody gave $5 or $10 and you shared that with people, people are wanting to give back. And actually just heard on the radio today, May is First Responder Month, and we actually had no clue when we set this up. So this is an opportunity to have a conversation with your sphere, your database, and come from contribution in a big way in the community. So we look forward to that. This is going to be our best Red Day ever. And you guys, again, get to be a part of that, and you guys get to make it happen. So that's really exciting to me. Does anybody have anything they want to, before we close down the business meeting today?
I just want to say thank you for inviting the people that can impart so much knowledge into us, with things that we might look at as how do we do this and how do we do that, just to confirm, we got this.
I love that. And you guys, you wouldn't believe, I have been hounding people anytime I see them on these national calls or whatever's going on. I literally am like, hey, will you come to our market center? So, and you know what they say 9 times out of 10? Well, first is let me check my calendar for availability. And the second is, of course. That's what I love about our company. So,
it's the culture. So
it is the culture.
We appreciate each of y'all for showing up, like Katie said, and look, it's your business. It's not, we're here to help you guys grow. And it's a simple, consistent task day over day that gets boring. Okay. But it's how we make our money. And thank God we're not out in the heat digging ditches. Right. I mean, this is a crazy opportunity to make a lot of money, change people's lives, and provide a future for your family that not many people could ever imagine. So we appreciate each one of y'all.
Okay, guys, we'll see you bold people at 1 o'clock. And then if you're not in the Facebook group, reach out to me immediately. You have to be in that bold Facebook group to access all of the content. So if you've signed up for bold and you have not joined that exclusive private Facebook group, now you have to sign up for bold first. And then that's where you get it. And I shared how to get the materials last night. So if you have any questions about that and you guys signed up or you're not signed up and want to know more information, just let me know. Okay, bye, guys. All right.
Thank
See you
you
later. Bye-bye.
Y'all.